Hi, everybody. Hello, hello. Happy Tuesday. I already forgot what day it was today. Super excited to talk about Sam's journey. I've absolutely loved working with her. Hey, Sam. Hi, Shannon. It's been so long.
Oh, okay.
Hey. Hi,
Hi.
Rachel. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Oh, good. I'm like trying to hurry and like tag people really quick. I looked up, I was like, I got 2 minutes and I gotta pee. So I was like, I gotta go. Super excited to talk about your journey today.
Yes.
It's been crazy. I like how to kind of dig a little bit and be like, hey, when did she sign up the first time? It's been a little bit. So,
hmm
all right, let me go do a tag really quick. Okay. Beautiful. All right, guys. So I'm here with Sam. Very excited so you guys can hear more about her journey. What I love about her business is that, or even her journey, is like she had her own VA business before she started to work with us. So for those of you guys that are like, oh my gosh, what if I find success and then, those ups and downs, those ebbs and flows? I know that's like, right, our fear as business owners of like, what if I lose that income? But your journey through this has been like resilience, right? Bouncing back, overcoming mom life, building a house, all the things. So, first, where I want to start off, Sam, do you want to tell everyone a little bit about like your background and how you found out about being an online service provider?
Yeah. I actually started my business almost 4 years ago, which is crazy.
Oh,
But I
yeah.
did a different VA course a couple years ago, and it didn't pan out. But anyway, so I kind of revamped it a couple years ago, and I got a couple clients, which is how I started. They had some leads that went into this program. But the program itself was very passive, which is why I ended up, coming to Rebel. So I got
Yeah.
clients, was how it started, and it just kind of grew from there. Um, and crap, I was trying to think. Would you then just kind of how it kind of went from there?
Yeah.
I got a couple clients. So I had my own business. So about 2 years ago, I was thinking about this morning. 2 years ago, I had my biggest month I ever had, which was 8 grand. So it was just crazy. But it
Yeah.
was crazy because I was working full time and I was working about 80 hours a week between everything, and it wasn't sustainable. So then I ended up bringing somebody on, and long story short, that happened for about a year, and then about a year right now. We were building our house, and I ended up having my third baby on Thanksgiving, and everything just
Oh,
kind
wow.
of went after that. My
Yeah.
employee, it just wasn't a good fit. We found out it wasn't a good fit. She just quit randomly one day. My husband was gone 12 hours a day building our house, and I'm home with
Yep.
a new. I didn't get a maternity leave really or anything because she quit, and so
Yeah.
it was really crazy. And so after a while, I was like, okay, I'm gonna revamp this, but I realized I didn't know how. All
Yeah.
of my had really been pure luck. So it's like for anybody
Yeah.
that built on pure luck, like it will go down eventually, and if you don't know how to build it back up, like that was where I was at. And it was a
Yeah.
real questioning of like, am I built for this? Like, can I do this? I had some amazing months, and now I'm back to like 2,000 a month. Like what's going on?
Yeah.
Um, and you had actually reached out a couple different times, so it was not, so it
Yeah,
was
you're
a long.
like, Jay won't leave me alone.
But magically, I had another person kind of like turn me down, and I was like, okay, like something has to change. And then you ended up messaging me like that next week, and so I just thought to myself, like, nothing changes if nothing changes. Like this is kind of at the
Yeah.
point ready to just make a move, and so
Yeah.
kind
Sorry, I
of,
got a phone call. But yeah,
oh,
you also too, and I see this a lot. I can list off 10 past clients off the top of my head that have done what you did, which I was the opposite. I never got luck trying it on my own. So kudos to you. Like I was like, $15 an hour for 5 months or for five hours a month. Awesome. 75 whole bucks. But I have seen a lot of women like what you're saying, where it's like they have referrals or they
Yeah.
get lucky, and then that's exactly what happens is they will reach their income or make some income, which 8K is amazing, but you don't have to work 8K. Obviously, you know that now, or work 80 hours a week to make that 8K. So for you, like looking back now, is it kind of like a blessing in disguise because it almost like forced you to do something different?
Right. And then it's like, okay, like, right, exactly. Now you kind of like when you hit that kind of rock bottom point, you're like, well, there you can only go up from here,
Mm-hmm.
you know? And so kind of, oh yeah, it wasn't sustainable. And now it's like, okay, well now I need to invest in something that teaches me how to make it sustainable, you know, because you don't want to run a business if you're miserable, you know, if it's
Yeah.
just worth it.
Yeah, definitely. Also, too, I didn't realize like how much we had in common. Because I had my daughter last summer and we were having our house built too. And I did not get a maternity leave either. I think I took like 10 days off and then I was like back in work. So that's what, again, it was like forced me to like redo my business as well, to sustain those higher income months. So I've been there. Um, but walk us through, because I know you did like Rebel launch for 3 months. So during Rebel launch, if you can remember back that far, because like I think you joined like March or April. But what
Yes.
was the biggest like aha moment or like the biggest change that you made where you were like, okay, this is what I didn't have before, what I wasn't doing?
Well, actually, I have two things. I have two things. So
Go for
one,
it.
I will say the content part of Rebel Launch is amazing. I was
Yeah.
so inconsistent with my content, and that's like, and you can't do that. Like, if you're trying to build an online brand and business, you can't do that. So
Yeah.
the content itself was amazing because then you also have material for like months on. You know, you already have kind of a starting point and something to look back on. But the other point too was like, I'm in accounting, I'm an introvert. I don't like talking to anybody.
Yeah.
That's so learning to talk to people in the DMs, learning how to start a conversation more organically and realizing it's more about making the connections. You know, you might make a connection and they might not use you for a while, but you're in the back of their mind. So when they are ready, you know, it's not, you know, there's just not as pressure. It doesn't feel super salesy. Like you're actually trying to get to know them, you know, and it just
Yeah.
creates a better relationship and foundation if you do end up working together. So that was
Yeah.
amazing how to actually talk to people.
I love that because people, I get that all the time too, where even today, okay, I have a coach too that like goes over my like sales calls and things. And he's like, you're so great at building rapport and that relatability and talking to people. And it like cracks me up because in real life, right, in person, I'm
Yeah.
like, don't talk to me. If I go to the store, if the gas station says you got to go in and pay, I'm like, no, I don't want to talk to anybody. But I think we forget sometimes we like label ourselves, right, as like being a certain way. But just like anything in life, it's something you got to learn. Like you didn't know how to do bookkeeping, right? Like we had to learn that. And so being an entrepreneur, no matter what kind of business you have to learn to be personable and talk to people. And it's just a skill set that's going to help you so much in life. So, anyways, I love that you brought that up. So, do you happen to remember? I do not, where you ended the first 12 weeks of in Rebel Launch?
I had landed one client. So I'd landed one client almost off the bat. Um, I'm trying to think here.
I
At the
remember
end,
that.
I had only gained the one client, but I had started making more connections. So it was like that's the other thing too that you kind of learn is it like it will build and build and build, and it can
Yeah.
feel like you're not doing like you're not making any headway, and then all of a sudden like we talked about like all of a sudden it has like boomed over the past like month and a half.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, so I did have one client at the end. I did gain one client during the first 3 months, but it was the second when I up leveled into the new program that really launched. So
Yeah.
that's when my other couple have come on since then.
Yeah, no, I love that. And I think too, when you're first, like what you're doing, right? Whether you're brand new or even if you're restructuring your business, there's always that learning curve for everybody where it's like really kind of figuring out your skill set or reworking your mindset. And that's like the biggest thing is that sometimes we set these like timelines for ourselves. And then if we don't hit it, we're like, it's not working. But I think like looking at those small wins. Like I even went back through the student portal and
Oh,
was
yeah.
like searching or whatever, like looking at it, and I was like, oh my God, she had so many wins, so many discovery calls, and envision like pushing that boulder up, and now you're at the other part where like the boulder's up the hill and now it's like snowballing, right? Like even yesterday, you were like, oh yeah, I've got another, or no, it was last Friday. You're like, oh, I got another discovery call. I'm like, is that like six calls?
It's
It's
been
crazy. Yeah. And now you're just like waiting for all of them to like go and onboard too.
Yeah, yeah, that's the crazy part is we're like right on the brink. Yeah, I think three of my clients are upgrading their packages, and then we have two more for sure that are onboarding, and then I had a call yesterday that we're still kind of in the works of if it's going to work out or not. So yeah, everything within the next month is just crazy. Waiting for
Yeah.
everybody to.
But then it's kind of like you're gonna hit your income goal, and then if you want to take off 2 weeks for Christmas or whatever, it's gonna set you up really nice for the holidays. So talk a little bit because I heard you say like your current clients that are gonna be upgrading their packages. So those are clients that you've had since like earlier this year, right?
Yes. So I have two of my clients. They are there's one that's my personal like a personal bookkeeping client, and then there's a bookkeeper I work with. I've worked with them for a couple years, and their businesses are growing, so now they're ready to take that next step. And then my newest client actually that I signed on about he
Sorry.
okay he's already ready. So my newest client, so that's a really good feeling too, is like you're already working so well together that they're like, okay, like we're ready to already go on to the next step. So
Yeah. I love that because now you've got that when you guys already have current clients, even if they're lower. Like I was on a call earlier this morning, and she's got two clients for $400 a month, which is like super low, right? Hourly, it's great, like what she's charging, but not enough hours. And so, guys, if you're on here and you've got clients that are not ideal, you can actually like use those to leverage, like do the behind the scenes. Sorry, going into coaching mode, but like do behind the scenes. And that's something I think I had told you too is like you have so much that you can utilize as far as like marketing and things. And I know you've been working one on one with Kara, who's
yeah.
great at like helping you find those gaps in their business. So talk a little bit about like the one on one support in this next step after Rebel launch, like in Rebel Energy Academy, and like kind of what that's been able to do for you.
Yeah, it's been great. So the calls are obviously either with you or with Kara, but
Mhm.
just getting like second set of eyes because like the in Rebel launch the calls were great. But really getting that one on one, like you just get to hash out everything. You just have
Yeah.
it all so personalized and it's so like value packed. Like in 1 hour, like you and I, like there was so much content we created,
Oh
and
yeah.
there's
I was like,
there's just
sorry, I'm like leaving you with all this to like go sift through, but
but and having Kara like and you like in my back pocket, like if I have a question on something or like somebody sent me a screenshot for a discovery call and they sent some information and I sent it to her. I'm like, hey, what do you think about this? And it's just really invaluable to have somebody in your back pocket. Like if you want to be able to really take it to the next step and scale quickly, that's the way to go because
yeah.
it's so personalized to you and your business. Like we talked a little bit too that some of my parameters like didn't fit everything, like a
Hmm.
lot of in Rebel Launch and stuff, like everybody does coaches, a lot of people do coaches, where I did
Yeah.
accounting, and that didn't quite fit in, and so we were able to kind of look at different things, and so that was really
Yeah, I love that because it says like yes, virtual assistant coach, but at the end of the day, I even had people okay, so her name's Sam too, ironically enough. But she went to the program to do virtual assisting. And so I don't know if she does it anymore. I know we checked in with her like a year ago, but she was like, actually, what I learned in Rebel Launch, I used for like my photography business because at the end
Oh,
of the day, it's like business basics. And she's like, yeah, she's making thousands of dollars a month in photography. And I'm like, I've never thought of that, but I'm like, that's so true. Cause I just think of like online service providers, like bookkeepers. At the end of the day, the principles are still the same. But like what you're saying, that next level, now it's like customizing, scaling, bringing on a team member. So that was gonna be my next thing of
oh yeah,
what does that look like for you now? Because you're gonna be, I know when we talked, oh yeah, we were guys, okay, I gotta share this really quick. I'm gonna go off on a tangent. But last week or 2 weeks ago, we were on a call and I'm like
yeah.
doing the math, and you were like, I was like, yeah, you're at like almost 9,000, and you're like, no, I'm not. You were like, you thought you were at 4,000, I think, or something, wasn't it?
Yeah, done like 6,000. It was like really quick. I obviously was forgetting a couple.
But
Yeah,
that's a good problem to have though, of like, I've got so many clients or so many people are going to be onboarding. Okay, I just had to share that because I love doing that. You're not the only one. I've had so many clients where it's like when that boulder goes down the hill and they're bringing on so many people, they're like, holy shit, I didn't even realize I'm making double of what I was 2 weeks ago or whatever. So I had to share that. But yeah, break down kind of like the next steps because I know obviously you're going to be well beyond the end of the year. But yeah, like what does that look like as far as like your next goals of what you're wanting to achieve and like what does that look like for you?
yeah. So once everybody onboards, we get more of a scope because that's the other thing too is like when you bring somebody on, sometimes like things can shift a little bit once you bring them on, like the scope versus your call. So once everybody kind of onboards, I'm already doing have some videos that show like my current clients and all of those duties. But once we
Yeah.
start getting onboarded, yeah, my next step is to hire a team member so they can start taking on things, especially for my current clients. I already have everything down pat, so I can focus on my new clients and making sure that they're served the best, and so we can work out what's next steps for them too. So yeah,
Yeah. And I know we had talked about that too, because I just did a training last week about those transferable skills. Um, and so obviously, right, like you worked as an accountant, which is I think is similar to bookkeeping, right? I know nothing about that.
yeah,
Okay. I thought so. But I know we had talked about too, because you were like, okay, it was bookkeeping and then it was like financial operations manager. Is that the right title?
yeah, yeah,
Okay, good. I'm surprised I remember that. Again, this is not my zone of genius, guys. But I know too you had talked about like getting like those higher paying clients or even being able to like elevate your skill set of like, hey, I can do more than just bookkeeping. This is what I can do. So do you want to walk everyone kind of through like how you were able to take those transferable skills at your 9 to 5, but then also to what you've learned about like positioning yourself, because I think a lot of times virtual assistants are have an imposter syndrome, like, oh my gosh, they're gonna like let me run their team or their business. So you want to walk through that for them?
yeah. So yeah, I work in accounting now, but I used to be an office manager, so which is like pretty much like an operations manager. I mean, it pretty much is. You have an office and you're in charge of like your staff.
Yeah.
But learning how to run an office, and I was the go-to person for everybody. If there was a problem, I solved it. And once I started working with my virtual assistant clients and in the accounting industry and realizing what they needed, I realized that I was really missing that. Like I loved my old job, but it didn't work for me anymore. And
Yeah.
realizing offer those same skills to firms, but you're getting paid more and you have a more elevated position to really be able to dig in and help them scale. So yeah, I mean, you have transferable skills everywhere. It's, everything that you do from like your day job, like you can pretty much do for other businesses and they'll probably pay you more. So
Yeah. And speaking of that, so Kylie, she's doing one-on-one coaching right now, and that's what we helped her do. She actually, and I'm like, I'm that person that's like believes in signs, God wink, all the things. But she's like, I got a notification on Indeed. She's like, I never see the notifications. But she was reading it because it popped up, and she's like, I was reading the description for a community manager, and she's like, that's exactly what I already do at my 9 to 5. And so she's been kind of struggling with like, okay, I want to do admin, but what does that look like in the online space? And so what I did with her this morning is I used my Rebel AI prompt. But I took the job description and then I had her outline what she currently does. We found the commonalities and then help set her apart because we also don't want her to be applying to jobs, obviously. You know how I feel about that. We worked on a script for her to go send a voice note on Instagram to kind of take that authority back. And that way it's more of like, hey, I can do like the subcontracting, right? I'm looking for a team to join. But then now she's positioning herself without having to fall into like that employee trap too. So yeah, I was like, oh my gosh, I love this. So just so you guys know, okay, being a bookkeeper, virtual assistant, you are not an employee, you're a team member.
Yeah.
So do you feel like all of your clients that you have right now, was it hard for you to kind of like establish the difference, or did they already kind of know what like that would look like?
Um,
What could you coming on?
Honestly, I feel like I was really lucky. It was hard. Okay, so for me personally, it was really hard to make that switch. But my clients that I brought on, my first big client, she is a client that I still work with today. She's an accountant. She had actually already worked with contractors. So she was already in that mindset of like, we are a partner together and you're
Yeah,
not. So I was actually really lucky for that. Some
yeah,
people lucky, I will say. I have had a few clients come and go that were a little bit more of that mindset. And then I was glad that it didn't work out. But it
yeah.
is hard. It's hard to like realize like you don't like you have to set boundaries because otherwise
Mhm.
it can slip right back into that role, whether you mean to or not. And
Yeah,
so really making sure that you set those boundaries, like you don't have to like jump anytime anyone says anything. Like you're a business owner and you act like one, you know.
I love that. Did you
Yeah, and
struggle with that before when you were working like 80 hours and making 8K to like set those boundaries?
yeah, it's been a struggle and to realize like okay, like this is when I'm going to work, and if my client doesn't fit in those parameters and they're just not a good fit for me, and realizing that like you shouldn't be taking on everyone. You really need to only be taking on the clients that fit into the life that you want, because if they're not, then like you're going to be miserable. and
Preach.
and learning that was really hard for me. I will
Yep.
say that
I
I'm not a people pleaser in like my personal life, but as far as work goes, I am a people pleaser. And
mhm.
that's really hard to get out of that mindset. Like I can still do a good job while setting boundaries with my clients.
Oh,
Was
I love that. And I'm glad this topic came up because I didn't really think about bringing that one up, but I'm glad that you brought that up because that was me too. I sucked. Not even in business, but like also my personal life. And so I felt like when I set boundaries in my business, it also did too, like what I'm going to accept, what I'm not going to accept, and like building that confidence. So I love that you brought that up. So you were at that 2200.
yep,
You're gonna be just shy of 9K, which also you had another discovery call Monday. Let's be real. You're probably on multiple. So you're
I
gonna
did.
probably be at 10K by like mid-November. I'm just putting it out there.
That would be amazing.
It's gonna happen. And have a team member to help you out, which is gonna be amazing. Oh yeah, one more thing. How many hours do you work right now? Or will you be working when you onboard those other clients?
Um, that
I know I'm kind
is
of putting the spot.
oh, because so we did talk about this. So I still like my 9 to 5 is like a work from home. So I do still work that. So that's
Yeah.
been like your motivating factor. But I would once these ones on board, I will be probably at like 30 hours a week at least, like
Which
in
is
my
yeah.
so it's really the cutoff. Like I really only want to be working like 20, so that's why we're doing everything now. So when I bring somebody on, like there's already that overflow, so I'm not getting overwhelmed.
Yep.
Um,
And I love that we're going to be doing that before because way too, and I've done it before
it,
too, but I
that's
will wait because I'm like, I'm too busy to bring on someone, even though I know better. And then you wait, and then, right, that's when all hell breaks loose. So I love that we're able to like go get that ball rolling for you. So then that way the person's trained, ready before those people on board. But guys, and I know you don't work like a normal,
I
9 to 5.
are yeah.
Because I know. I was like, what the fuck? Like, why can't I do that?
And it's not
But
Funny.
What'd you say?
It's not plausible. Like if you know what I mean. Like if I worked like a
Yeah.
normal night, I went out and did the like I could never scale to the way that I've scaled without like quitting.
No. But the great takeaway, guys, is like $8,600 a month and working 30 hours in client work, which, as you know, and if you guys are doing over that in client work, we need to restructure your business because you guys should not be working. You guys should be making well more than enough than what you need and not working over 30 hours in client work because you guys want to reserve some time for your business as well. And so, okay, one more question, I promise, and then we'll wrap it up. But how, when you were going through Rebel Launch, or like even now, for your money generating activities, how much time do you spend on doing those daily things every day, like working in your business?
Probably not as much as I should, I'll be honest. But when
But
I've
you're hitting goals, like you're good.
yeah, but in the beginning, you really it really should be like an hour or an hour and a half or hour and a half at least a day, especially in the beginning when you're trying to get the leads coming in, and especially with content. As I've gotten better with content and using like Chat GPT to help me, it's gotten better. But in the beginning, it's definitely at least an hour or hour and a half a day. 2 hours to get more messages out would be great.
Mhm.
But now it's not that much. It's maybe, you know, like half an hour a day, if that. Um,
Yeah.
I've actually found really great success in Facebook groups too. So a lot of my time is spent in Facebook groups because that's where I found a lot of my clients, and that's what works in my industry specifically. So a lot
Yeah.
of Facebook groups and obviously on social media, but not as
Yeah,
much.
no, and that's amazing too because we always, I mean, and you know this, like we're like Instagram, but there's always a little bit of like networking in those Facebook groups. But like what you were saying, that's why market research is so important because then you know where your ideal clients hang out at. And so for you to be able to just utilize Instagram and Facebook to like simplify it is amazing. And yeah, you're doing great. So love, love, love all that for you. So what would you say to anyone that's been on the fence about joining Rebel Launch or Rebel Energy Academy?
To do it. To but make sure that make sure that you're ready to put the work in, because that's the only thing. Like if you don't get the results out of it, it's nothing that you or Kara are doing. It's because you're not putting in the work. If you're
Yeah.
putting in the work and you're still not getting there, like then you're there to ask questions. But 100% do it as long as you're willing to put in the work, because
Yeah. You just have to implement it. I'm like, we will help you. We will give you all the things you like, go above and beyond. Like, I know Kara too. Speaking about business boundaries, but we're
yeah,
both guilty of it. Of like, we see someone just like struggling or like showing up and something's not clicking, we will go above and beyond for those people always. Yeah. I was like, Kara, and she's like, I know, but like we're right there. Like we just gotta get one more client. I'm like, all right. But
yeah,
I'd rather have that in a co-coach, right? Of like have them care too much than too little. So I love that, Sam. Well, we are so proud of you. We've
yeah.
absolutely loved working with you and so excited for this I'll say next chapter, and helping you build out your team. So keep up the good work.
Yes, thank you so much.
Yeah, thanks for your time today. I'll talk to you soon. Bye, everybody.